Hello everyone, this big old chonker of a set is the LEGO City Arctic truck for 2025. Set includes a side build with 2 adult Arctic wolves and a pup, a selection of minifigures that we'll look at more closely later, and a snow machine. It has 1,057 pieces, cost me $120 US. It's 110 euros, 100 pounds UK, or $140 Canadian. First of all, the main thing that you're paying for here, this truck is pretty large. I mean, just look at it in comparison. Look at the size of the tire in comparison to a person here. And this thing is nice and sturdy the way that it's built. It's built like a proper modern city vehicle. In other words, strong. And somewhat simplistic in the build, but I don't know, it felt interesting enough to me. It didn't feel boring at all. It felt a little bit elevated for something from the city line, like the way that the line, this dark blue line is done around the outside. There are a couple spots that weren't the most secure during the build early on, but it all comes together pretty well. And this doesn't really have any boring areas around it. I'm happy to say while I was building it, I was a little bit worried that some parts looked a little bit just kind of plain, but ultimately it's like that is the most plain area right there, just in between the cab and the main section of it. It uses articulated steering. I do wish that this articulated just a little bit more, so I got just a little bit better turn radius of it, just to use it, you know, not as a realistic thing, but as a toy. I think it'd be nice to be able to turn it just a little bit more than that, but it's no big deal. And then see, like, you know, you've got all of the protection around the front, the suggestion of ladder over here with the steps. Doesn't come all the way down to the ground, but you know, the basic stuff is covered there. This, by the way, is supposed to be a telescope, so they're going to be up there in the Arctic Circle, and they're going to have very, very clear skies, and they're going to be able to do some really nice observations. An interesting inclusion here. Of course, this can go 360 degrees all around, up and down. Unfortunately, there is this one sticker right here that does have the poorly matched color of white. The sticker color is just brighter, as is normally the case. That from what I've experienced in recent years, the LEGO white color is just more yellowish and creamy, whereas they go with the full bright white for the stickers. Now, this door gives you easy access, but how is a person supposed to get in there? I guess you can use this as a ladder, but then it doesn't go all the way up. Yes, this can be used as a ladder or as a traction board if you get stuck in the snow. That's a printed piece right there. Nice little accessory over here. You can also have a figure who's up on the fenders here, just standing there, you know, prepping some stuff. This can be considered to be a spare tread set for your snow machine, your snowmobile. Got a sticker used over here, which unfortunately, once again, has not the best color matching to the orange. Not that big of a deal for something that's pure toy like this, but you know, Up on the top, plenty of space on the roof to hold things, such as you could put this up there, but it's a little bit awkward. There's actually something better that you can do with the snow machine, but this is kind of convenient. It's just not going to stay there all that well. But this crate over here can be brought down, and you can store stuff in it. Right now, it's got some food supplies inside of it, which makes some sense. Got a couple of antennas, or an antenna and a SATCOM dish off there. That's good. Looking around the back, we've got something attached here, just a wrench and pry bar. Over here, another potential, I don't know if this is supposed to be that, but I would see it as a potential spare, because I mean, look, it's the same thing. Spare tread for your snow machine. This is a first aid kit and also stretcher, just in case somebody hurts themselves a little bit worse. Before I open this up to show you the interior, I want you to see the articulation, because it does have some. Look at that. Now, there are no springs or proper shock absorbers on here, but they do show, for example, in the marketing materials, in the lifestyle photos, they show a kid actually playing with the thing, driving it over like rocks and pieces of wood and bark and stuff. And that's stuff that you can totally do with this in a semi-realistic way. It just makes the whole thing feel more rough and tumble, makes it feel more like it's in the space. You know, you get less of that fourth wall breaking when you have to lift the thing up to go over obstacles. And you know, it's just nice to see that it seems like it's engineered for doing this stuff. You know, it's just a toy. You don't need that kind of thing, but it really, I feel, just helps with the play experience. And even for display, like you can just put a rock under there, you know, and display it like that, and it looks and feels more cool like that. The interior is going to be accessed through the roof. Unfortunately, the sides don't pop off. It would have been really nice if you could pull off a side or at least swing a side out to get easier access, because the wall here is relatively tall. It gets a little bit shorter once you get to this point, but it just reduces the convenience of putting figures in there. From the door over here, there's a restroom, and it's kind of full size. I mean, it's got all the most important things in there. You don't have a shower, unfortunately, but you can have a door off to the side. That does use up a fair amount of space, though. And then, unfortunately, this whole kind of intermediate room doesn't do anything. It would have been nice to get something, just a little extra panel. I know it's right next to the restroom door, but just a little something extra on the side there. Something extra over on the side here, I think would have made this feel less like wasted space, because it's kind of wasted space right now. Then over here, this is all for just eating. Like, wow, okay. So you've got a couple chairs there, you can seat figures there, and a table. And then this is your whole kitchenette. You wash your dishes, cook your food. What do they have? Blue milk? Is that what that's supposed to represent? So, okay, so just kind of living stuff. And then back here, you've got a couple beds. Only a couple. Your crew is larger than that, but they can sleep in shifts, I suppose. However, the only part of this that's actually lab and exploration science related is just there? What? You see the question mark that's in my voice right now? Why didn't they dedicate more of the science stuff? More space to the science stuff? Like, make this flip up over here and convert like they've done for some of the space stuff. Make that convert into some lab space. Use this for some lab space. Don't include the extra door there. I guess that was mostly used for strength, but yeah, I just think they could have used this space better. And, obviously I like the whole thing. I like the whole vehicle, but the interior, I don't know, just doesn't have enough practicality for me. I think they could have done more. The Snowmobile Snow Machine, it's a nice practical design because it has seating for two, a couple clips on the back to hold on to some accessories. I like the shaping of it. It's got a little bit of forward rake. The whole thing just kind of makes sense. And the front skis also articulate a bit. And you got the suggestion of lights right there. And this is a print here on the front. It's simple, but it's nice. I mentioned there's a better thing that you can do than placing this on top, and it's back here. This pulls out with a very secure slide that goes way into the chassis, and then you can just set this on the back. They show it on the box art. You might have noticed that up front. So that's nice and secure, and it's very convenient. It fits in, and you kind of, oh wait, am I kind of balancing it? Sorry about that. You should be able to attach it with two of the studs there on the, is that more like it? Sorry, I'm not looking at it from the same angle that you are, but it attaches there, attaches plenty securely. It kind of shows off the fact that it's part of the same team with the color scheme and everything. It just feels kind of right. However, I will say one thing that's a little bit awkward about this. The mechanism for that to be strong and for this to slide in and out, it's not really a mechanism. It's just a sliding section. Is significant. It takes up a lot of space, takes up a lot of the initial build of the lower part of the chassis, and a lot of height down there. There's so much chassis, like the floor is here. The floor is just right under here. And then there's so much space beneath that doesn't get used for anything. And I'm not even talking about for the suspension. Like the suspension gets added on afterwards. There's a whole slice under there, large slice of space that is ultimately only used just to hold this. And I feel like they could have had one segment of the floor just lift out. I think it would have made more sense to have a section of the floor lift out so you could at least have some more storage down there or something like that. Or convert that, use that for additional I don't know, sleeping quarters or something. Yeah. Or from underneath here, you could have some sort of ladder come up so that it would make more sense for just how people are able to get into this. I just feel like there's a lot of space under there that wasn't well used. This terrain side build is pretty nice. It's a kind of a corner design, and it feels pretty organic to me with the den there, the cave. I like it. It feels like a good level of detail. They even have the suggestion of the wintry trees, the evergreens up here, without making them too big, without using too many pieces. for that, too much of the parts budget. It feels good. And obviously the intent is, oh my gosh, you can attach it to other things. People tend to make a huge deal out of that. I don't. It's just a clip. That's just a bar. It's a Lego. You can always attach things to each other using the studs, using the Lego system. But it is there, and that makes it just a little bit more convenient. You got a snowball up here, which I appreciate because some of the figures would surely come up here and then play with that. Let's take a closer look at the animals. It's just 2 adult wolves in gray. That's the regular light bluish gray. And then the pup is appropriately tan. Maybe they could have gone with dark tan, but I'm fine with tan because they are born in a more earthy color so that they camouflage a little bit better into their dens. And the prints on these, I think, are nice. They're cool. This is just a dog mold, same one that's used for a German Shepherd pup. And I think that's perfectly fine. Here are a few of the figures. You have shared legs between these two, but the torsos are different between all 3. Nice printed, collectible, if you will, map tile over there. And yeah, it's nice that they do some recolors, but I appreciate that they continue with the commonality of the orange from theme to theme as they do different Arctic themes through the years, so that if by any chance you have collected stuff from before, the newer stuff still kind of works with it. Here are the other 2 figures, just plain legs for them, and once again, different torsos for the 2. I feel like that's supposed to be white also, isn't it? Like this is a more opaque white slightly than that is. I think that's just the worst print out of all the pieces in this set. The white there is just definitely lacking, just came out a little bit thin. Too bad no alternate face here, but you do get one there. And for somebody to use the snowmobile, the snow machine, they include 1 extra helmet. Well, 1 helmet, period. Where's the second one, though? There needs to be 1 for the passenger. You got to have 2. You got 2 seats on the thing. These are the leftover pieces here, and this is what the sticker sheet looked like. I think that you can easily leave off the ones that are intended to be on the outside if you really dislike stickers, or if you really dislike mismatched colors, especially with the orange and a little bit with the white. But the inside ones I think are easy to be more happy with. They're just small, rectangular, and I think they add good details. Again, this has 1,057 pieces and cost me $120 US. It's 110 euros, 100 pounds UK, or $140 Canadian. Not to pile on, but I'm going to go ahead and pile on. Again, $120 US for that, $160 for this, and the one on the bottom is a lot more rough and tumble, has more usable interior space. The one on the top does come with more figures and is licensed, so you would expect it to be, priced a bit higher, a fair bit higher if it was durable, but it's not as durable as this. Like this is a good toy, the other one isn't a good toy. I'm just saying. I still feel like this is a lot of money, but it doesn't feel outrageous by Lego's historical standards. If you are real about things and you look at how much Lego used to cost back in the good old days before everything was licensed and before everything was overpriced because of minifigure speculators or whatever other kind of conspiracy theory that you want to use, Lego has been expensive, very expensive for a very long time. It got cheaper and cheaper in recent years until the most recent years when it started to really bump up in price. Again, thankfully, this doesn't use too many tiny pieces, so it ends up having some good bulk to it. And on the whole, it's just a pretty good play set. It's not just about the truck. All these things really add to the whole entire play experience. This was a nice inclusion too. I just wish that this had way more lab space, way more space for science. Because what are you doing here? You're observing things, sure, but otherwise you're just kind of living out in the Arctic, which is cool. And then I guess, you observe things in the night sky, but otherwise just that one little room being the only science thing here. And then, a pair of binoculars and a camera over here. I don't know. They could have done more, more sample collection, more data analysis, research, just give the kids more toys, give the minifigures more toys to play with, give the kids more things to play with as well, all together as part of the entire experience. But all in all, I'm pretty satisfied with this. I'm a little bit biased in favor of big trucks, big overlanding trucks, but this is just plain good. It really is. Tires are nice. Shaping is nice. It feels, like I said, elevated. You know, it doesn't feel too basic just because it's made for kids, like most Lego stuff is. They didn't dumb it down. It's nice. I'm happy with it overall. I would be more happy with it at about $100. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, that's kind of within the range. You can imagine that happening. Of course, if you live in a region where huge discounts happen on day one all the time, I'm happy for you. That's great. And you probably get what I would consider to be a very reasonable price for this. But if you're not that fortunate to live in such a region, you know, maybe wait. Because I'm sure that this will be on the market for some months. See if it goes on discounts a little bit. But otherwise, at its standard starting retail price, it's not a terrible ripoff. It's just kind of par for the course for today, and also for past decades when Lego cared about their fans and they didn't just do it for money. I'm just saying. I got to be sarcastic about some of our AFOL complaints are very, very skewed and very, very out of touch with the reality. We forget, especially when we didn't have to pay for the toys when we were kids. Our parents were paying for them. But when you look at things adjusted for inflation, this is just like normal Lego, really, really expensive. But thank you very much for watching. I hope that I've offered some kind of value to you here with this video, and I'll talk to you again soon, and keep the content coming. Bye for now.